So we've done quite a lot of videos and tutorials on the use of Google Earth Engine, for example. Not exclusively just Google Earth Engine, but obviously all the related software or programs that I normally do. If you watch some of my videos, you'll notice that I use about 5, I think, complementary program software, whatever you want to call it, in the work that I do. So it normally starts in Earth Engine. So if there's a project or a consultancy work or an assignment or whatever comes on my table, my first port of call is Earth Engine. So I normally use Earth Engine to get my basic information, images, etc., etc. I normally then export images as TIFF files, and that goes straight into QGIS, and then I use the data, and that goes straight into Excel. Then I have Earth Engine, QGIS, and Excel. And then complementary to those three, I normally work in RStudio for more detailed analytical work, working with the data. And also I work in Geoda, which is also a useful program. So that's the 5 programs. There's a couple of more that I now and again use, but that's my suite of programs. And I said the nice thing is they're all free. They don't cost you anything. So there's no reason why you can't use it. And I said the aim of my channel, View from Space, is to give some guidance, give some help, give some assistance, some ideas on how to use these programs and how to generate meaningful information on whatever topic comes your way. So in this case, we're going to try to summarize or to try to work on a single project. So where do we normally start? As I said, I normally start obviously in the brief. What is the project all about? And then once I have the project brief, I then start putting together the pieces of the puzzle, so to speak, in terms of where do I'm going to get what and where I'm going to do what. So where am I going to get what and where I'm going to use what. So that's the 2 critical questions. So recently, I was asked to work on 4 game reserves in the Mpumalanga province of South Africa. So there's 4 reserves, and the idea is to get an understanding of the ins and outs of these reserves from an ecological point of view and from an economic point of view. Okay, so my brief was basically to do a analysis of these 4 game reserves in Mpumalanga, with the ultimate aim to get a valuation of these reserves. What is the value of these reserves, given that there is quite a lot of pressure, urbanization pressure, population pressure, agricultural pressure, and so forth, that competes against these reserves. So what is the economic value of these reserves, specifically from a conservation point of view, from a carbon point of view, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. Okay, so that's the basic brief I've got, is to say there's 4 reserves. There's a huge amount of pressure on these reserves. There's obviously cost involved in fencing, wardens, security, roads, vets, and there's a lot of cost involved in maintaining these reserves. But what is the economic value of these reserves? Okay, so I hope you get an understanding of the brief. So, not knowing anything of these reserves, I haven't been at these reserves. I know where they are, but I've never been at these reserves, so I've got no clue, and I'm very, very far away from them. So, where do we start? Obviously, the first place is to map these 4 reserves. Where are these 4 reserves? Okay, so that's my first port of call, is to map these reserves. And so I go into QGIS, and I map these reserves. And there they are. There's the 4 reserves. There is Loskop Dam Reserve. in green. There's Mdala Reserve in red. There's Bushbuckridge in blue. And there is Songimvelo Reserve. There it says. By the way, this is the Mpumalanga province, the Kruger National Park. If I go out a little bit, this is basically the Kruger National Park here. Sorry, that's the Kruger National Park there. That's Mozambique there. That's Zimbabwe there. That's Botswana there. This country here, I did say this is Botswana, yes. This country here is Swaziland or Eswatini at the moment. It's called there. Gauteng, Pretoria, Johannesburg and Pretoria. Hopefully that's names that may be familiar. Is lying around here. Okay. So that is Pretoria and Johannesburg, which is the centers of the economic power centers of South Africa and Africa to a large degree is lying here. So that gives you roughly idea of it. Now, fortunately, these boundary maps were available to me, so I basically just plot them. If they're not available, then you can use, for example, Google Earth to go and map them as KMZ files and then convert that into shape files. So that's also a possibility that you can do. In fact, I did that for Bushbuckridge because that was not available to me. Okay, so that's my first point. Now I've mapped them, okay? And I said I have now got these files as shape files, okay? So that's 4 shape files, boundary shape files that I have of these 4 reserves. I've got a basic idea of where they're located, what is the surrounding areas, where they fit into the map, etc., etc. Okay, so that's the 4 of them. So that's point number, once I've got the brief, call this point number 2. Okay, so now first after this is I need to bring these files into Earth Engine. Okay, so if I don't have my ROIs, my region of interest in Earth Engine, then there's nothing I can do. So that's now point number 1. So I go into Earth Engine. So I go into my Google Earth Engine. There's earthengine.google.com. Remember, you have to register but let's say that's all done. You go into this, you go to platform, and you go to code editor. Okay. You just left click on code editor, and it will open a blank code editor space for you, platform for you to work in. And that's basically what it looks like. This is where you do all the coding, where your script will be, and this is the outcome. Inspector is where you can click on a specific location. It will give you the information of that location, which is within the script. Console is if there's errors, if there's maps, if there's anything that you print, errors and stuff will come up there. Task is your exports. Okay, so important parts, and obviously your map, all your images will display here, and this is where your stuff will be saved in scripts and in assets. Okay, so this is what we want to go for. We want to go now into assets because I want to upload these boundary shape files within Earth Engine. So if I right click on these, on any of them, if I go to properties, then you'll see if I go to information, you'll see they are SHP, they are shape files. Okay, and if I go to source, there's the coordinate reference system, there's where it is located, etc., etc. Okay, so we've got that now sorted. Now I need to bring those boundary shape files into Earth Engine. Okay, so as I said, I've opened a blank or a new script window, and then on your left hand side I'm going to go into assets, and within assets I'm going to now upload these files, or these boundary shape files. To do that, I go to new. Okay, so there it says new. Okay, so I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to upload it as shape files. You see, there is the shape files. So I left click on it. Remember, up to now, left click, left click, left click. I go to shape files. Now, it says I must select my files. Okay, so I go select. Now I need to go to the folder in which I have saved these shape files, boundary shape files. I go right click again just to make sure. Properties, and I have it in reserves. Okay, so it's this blah 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 in reserves, and where is this now? And I go into reserves, where is reserves? There it is, and you'll see there is the shape files. Now you have to upload all of the files related to that shape file. So not just the shape file itself. Okay, so for example here, not just the shape file, but all its accompanying files, its complementary files. So the DBF one, the SHP one, the SHX one, the CPG, the PR, whatever files. So all of its associated files you have to upload. Okay, so there's the DBF, the shape file, the SHX, the CPG, and the PRJ files. Now you'll see sometimes they have this QMD file. Don't upload the QMD file. Okay, so here it's a CPG, the DBF, the PR, the shape file. Sometimes there's 5, sometimes there's 4, but don't upload the QMD. It will give you an error to say don't upload it. Then you know it's about this file. So don't upload that specific file. All the others, the PRJ, the CPJ, the SHX, SP, DBF, those are all files that you need to upload. Okay, so I've selected my files. In this case, there's 4 files. I press open, and you'll see here the shape file must be accompanied. So there is not sufficient files. So I just click cancel, and I'm going to go new again. Shape files, let's do another one. So we're going to go, I don't want to go to modified ones, just a normal one, Bushbuckridge. There it is, Bushbuckridge. There one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 files. Okay, so I'll press OK. Remember, no spaces. Doesn't like spaces. Okay, so no spaces in these names. Could be underscores and things like that, but no open spaces. It hates spaces. Press OK. It says already exists, so I'm just going to give it another 5 or something. So I'm not going to upload it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. There's my ones. Now I know there's no error, so all good. I'm going to leave everything as is. And you just basically press upload. I'm not going to press upload. I've already done that. Okay, so I've already uploaded it. And you'll see if you refresh, once you'll see the task will become in this side. I'm not sure if there's still task here. We have uploaded. It will give it, it's uploading. There we go. It will tell you it's uploading. Insert. It will tell you it's uploading. And then once it's blue, then you know it is, the upload is done. You basically just press refresh. And then within assets, you'll see there's Bushbuckridge. There it sits. Okay, so if you want to go and view it, you can just press on itself. Okay, so just press on the left hand stick, and it will give you a little window where you can see all the reviews. Okay, and there it sits. It shows you the broad layout of the shapefile. It also tells you where the shapefile is, gives you where it is saved within Earth Engine, the size, modified, if you want to go features, properties, etc. And you can just simply press import, or better less, you just click on that little button there, and it will import it straight into the script. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So to summarize this part, I've got my 4 shape files, my 4 boundary shape files. Okay, so I've got that. I know where I've saved it. Now I need to upload this into Earth Engine. I upload it in Earth Engine using the asset function new. Okay, and then you upload all accompanying files, and it will be located here. And then you simply just either click on itself, or you click on this little arrow here, this forward sign, and it will import it into script. It will come and sit here. This is where it will be imported. Okay, so you'll see there I have imported all 4 of my assets, my boundary shapefile. So these 4 files are exactly the same as these 4 files. Okay, this one, this one, this one, this one, there they are, exactly the same. Now you'll see if you import it, let me import this one again, you'll see it will import it as a table. Okay, so to give it a unique name, you just left click on it. Okay, you just left click it, and then you can just type in whatever you want to type in, Roy, or whatever the case might be. Okay, so you give it a unique name. This is where I do this. You'll see. Okay, sorry, I don't want to Hanana. I'm just going to delete it. Click on that button there, delete it. Why doesn't it want to delete now? Delete. Okay, it must be a name there. Let's say this NN. And now I'm going to delete it. Okay. So if you import and set, it will come with a standard name there table. You just left click on that name and you can give it a unique name. Okay. So that's important. Give it a unique name. Don't give it a 10,000 letter name with all sorts of digits and stuff. Just very straightforward, nothing to it. I normally just do a very short abbreviation. BBR, Bushbuckridge, LKD, Loskop Dam, MDA, Mdala, Songimvelo. It's very straightforward. I know exactly what I'm doing with. Okay, so that's very important. I now have added my 4 game parks, game reserves into Earth Engine as assets, and I've given each of these assets a unique and individual name. Okay, so now I've bought it. Now obviously I want to display it in Earth Engine. Okay, so now I want to display it in Earth Engine. So how do I do that? I basically bring them in using the map add layer function. So map, okay, so this is my map here. You'll see there it says map. This is my map here, and I want to add my layer. I want to add my asset. What asset do I want to add? I want to add these names, these assets. Okay, BBR, so that's it. Then comma, and then I'm going to give it a color.blue, and I'm giving it a name. Okay. There's some other things that you can add to it, but that to me is the basics. Okay, you can make it nice, you can play around it, you can color it, fill it, all sorts of thingamajiggs, but there's no real need for me. I don't normally do those fancy things. I just want to visualize these assets or these reserves within Earth Engine. Okay, so map.addLayer, the name of the asset or the reserve that I want to bring in, the color that I'm going to give it, the display dimensions of it, and the name of it. So I do it for all of them. There's all 4 of them, and then I'm going to tell Earth Engine where to center my map, meaning if I press run, where is this going to go? Where is it going to sit with? Now, as I said, there's the individual coordinates for each of these, but obviously I want to see it in such a way that I can see all 4 of them. Okay, and so this is the average. So how do I get to that? I found the place where these, let me just quickly go and untick them. So how do I do that? Let me just quickly go there. Let me just quickly untick them. There's the 4 of them. Okay, so there's the 4 of them. So what I want to do, I either want to go into each one, okay, or I want to go to a position where I can see all 4 of them. So I want my map to be centered around this point. So I don't want it each individual, because then I'll have to scroll in and out to see the other 4. So I want to pin this specific area, so when I press run, it will locate here, and then I can see all 4 of them. Okay, so how do I do that? I use the map.center, and then I need to give the coordinates of that specific location. Now, where do I get those coordinates? I use this button here, add a marker. Okay, So I'm going to go add a marker. I'm going to left click. Then I'm going to press here somewhere in the middle, like that. Left click, and it will give you the marker. You'll see there it comes. Then I open it up by clicking on this little button here. And there's the coordinates. So I just left click on it. And I right click. I say copy. And I paste it in there. I'm not going to paste it in here. I want to keep it there. And then once I'm done with it, I just press delete. And I delete it. And there it goes. Now I've got it. Now this 9 here is the zoom level. Okay, so 1, if I press 1, is going very far out. Let's see, very far. And if I press 11, you'll see it becomes very close. So that's the zoom level. That's the zoom level of my map center. Okay, so now I'm ready to start with my first bit of coding. Okay, so let's quickly just visualize it. So let me just unselect all these images that I've generated. Sorry, it does take a bit of time. Let's quickly I can build in a function. Okay, so there they are all. Let's quickly go and see where they are. There we go. Where's the other one? Let me just wait for them quickly. There's Mdala. Okay, so you'll see if I go up. You'll see, as I said, if I go zoom out a little bit. See, there we go. If I zoom still further out, coming back to my original point, there they are. There's the 4 of them. There's old Swaziland, Eswatini. Okay. There is Mozambique. That is Zimbabwe. That's Botswana. I said there's the 4 reserves. That's the Kruger National Park lying there. So this is very close to the Kruger National Park. And there's the economic powerhouse of South Africa, Pretoria, and Joburg. So from a strategic point of view, a location point of view, these are very well situated in the heart of the safari world of South Africa. Okay, so let's zoom in again. I hope, yeah, okay, so hopefully I'm still making sense. So now I basically am in the same position as I am in QGIS. There's my QGIS. 4 reserves located in QGIS. And there's my 4 reserves located in Earth Engine. So now I'm exactly the same point. I've also uploaded it in Google Earth, just a normal Google Earth, because there's also some nice things that you can do in Google Earth. Yeah, so it also gives you some nice pictures and okay. So now what I want to do is I don't want to generate I don't want to run 4 scripts, meaning similar scripts, meaning a script for each reserve individually. Okay, so that's going to mean I'm going to have a script for each reserve separate, meaning a full script for Bushbuckridge, then a full script for Loskop Dam, then a full script for Mdala, which is just a repeat because all you do is you change the ROI. So what I want to do is I want to create a loop, meaning it's going to run. So one script that runs for all 4, that automatically generates output for all 4. So it's one script, but 4 outputs, not 4 scripts for 4 outputs. Okay, so one script for 4 outputs, meaning my script is much more condensed, it's much more coherent, etc., etc. So if I had to do 4 scripts, then it's going to become very, 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 very long, and there's typos and all sorts of things. So one script, and also if you do amendments or changes, then you must remember to do it for all 4, etc., etc. So I'm going to create a looping function, so meaning one script and it loops for each reserve. So I create 4 outputs using one script. Okay, so that's the whole idea here, is not to run them, because imagine if you had 10 or 20 or 30 ROIs. Then you had to, if you do them individually, you'll have 30 scripts. So now in this case, one script and you'll get the amount of output equal to the amount of ROIs. So I hope that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them into one location or one ROI. So I'm going to add these 4 and I'm going to create a new variable which is called areas. And again, you can call that anything you want to, pink, blue, yellow, reserves, whatever the case might be. That's totally up to you. Remember, all the names, that's discretionary. That's totally up to you. All the variable names, that's up to you. That's up to your discretion. In this case, I'm going to take ROI, BBR, name, etc., etc. So I'm going to take all 4 of my assets, my boundaries, my reserves, and I'm going to add them into one variable, and that variable is called areas. So when I clip, I don't clip for the individuals, I clip for all 4 of them using this variable called areas. Okay, hope that makes sense. So for example, if I clip an image, I'm going to clip it for all 4 with one script, not with individual clipping functions. Okay, so that's important. Then the next one that I want to do is I want to do variables. Okay, because I want to do it before and after. So I want to look at, for those that is in time series format, so those images, that's an image collection. I want to look at specific dates. Just remember, there's seasonal factors, there's rainfall patterns, there's all sorts of things. So the image and current image, let's say in 2025, could be very, very different to the image in 2020 or whenever the case might be. So I also want to look at images that's in the image collection at certain points in times to give me a temporal element. Okay, so not just a spatial element, I also want a temporal element. Okay, so there's my spatial element, and there's my temporal element, my time series element. Okay, so I've got periods. I've got a start period, and I've got a period 1, which is 2020, which is it's the whole year of 2020, and then I've got a second period, which is 2024. So I've got a beginning period, and again, these periods here is very much dependent on your image collection. Okay, very much dependent on your image collection. If you have a collection that starts in 1980, then you can use 1980 as a start period, or whenever. Just be mindful of outliers and so forth and so forth. So the selection needs to be justified. There needs to be a rationale for it. Either that's the beginning of the image collection, or it is a quote-unquote normal period, average period, not an outlier period. Okay, so there's my temporal resolution, and there's my spatial resolution. Okay. So, very important stuff. Okay, and I said I'm creating looping functions. So it's going to loop for each of these reserves. It's going to loop through the clipping function, the spatial function. Is going to loop through the time series function for those that have a image collection that are in time series format. My normal clipping function. There's my normal clipping function. Clip using the areas. This one here. And there is my, okay, so now I've got, the first thing that I want to do is to generate Sentinel daytime images. Okay, so remember in this particular case here, I don't have a image of these, a satellite, a daytime image of this. I don't know how these places look. Is it water? Is it mountains? Is it trees? Is it shrubs? Is it bushveld? Is it agriculture? What does these 4 reserves look like? Okay, what is these 4 reserves? If I go into QGIS, and if I include if I go to browser here, I've got browsers here. But if you right click here, any place here which is open, you right click here, you'll see you'll have browser panel. You just activate it. Okay, you'll just activate it and it will come up like this. And there is some options. I've got a satellite image that you just double click on it and it will bring that satellite image here at the bottom. Okay, so there is, if I zoom into this, you'll see there is Bushbuckridge. You can see there's a big dam in here. Looks fairly rough. It looks clearly mountainous, etc., etc. But I can't really see, there's some green. I can't, if I zoom in, yeah, you can see there's some sparsely dense areas, vegetated areas. There's some highly dense vegetation around these dry beds or rivers. But as I said, I don't know what period this is, and there's also no temporal element to that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to generate a daytime image, true color, of all 4 reserves for each of those 2 periods. Okay, so I want to generate, if I go back, I want to generate a daytime image for this particular period, 2020, and I want to generate a daytime image for 2024. Now with Sentinel-2, it's available from 2016, 2017, but I've just decided to go 2020. I'm not sure why I've decided on 2020, what the specific reason is, but you can change it. But obviously, you just need to bear in mind when does the collection start. Okay, when does the collection start? And I'm going to display my daytime in the true color, which is band 4, 3, and 2. There's my visualization parameters for the Sentinel. And here is my script for the daytime image. Okay, here's my script for, and it's a standard Sentinel image, Sentinel script. Nothing to it, okay, except that I'm looping through the areas. You can see there, I'm looping for the areas and I'm looping through the 2 periods. Okay, so there's my areas. So meaning take my Sentinel and clip it for the 4 areas and also generate 2 images for those specific times. Okay, so that's important there. There we go. So I'm clipping for my areas and I'm generating 2 images each for those periods. My image collection, Sentinel-2. Okay, so let's look at Sentinel-2. So I'm going to copy that one there. I'm going to go to Google Earth. I'm going to go to data sets. Now I can either go to Sentinel here, or I can go and just in the search bar paste that in and press enter. Okay, enter. It will go there. It will tell me there is my, not what you're looking for. Why is nothing happening? Okay. Anyway, let's go to Sentinel directly. Let's go to Sentinel directly. And there is my Sentinel-2. So I left click on it. You'll see there's 2015 to present. But I mean, a lot of places don't have 2015. So it depends on when it started to actively sense your specific area. And it's just in most of South Africa, it only started in 27. You get some good daytime images. And there it is. There's my surface reflectance. I'm using it. You'll see 2017 for that one. Top of the atmosphere 2015. And there it is. There's my bands, etc., etc. And the description, the wavelength, the scales, etc., etc. There's my script there. My standard script, you'll see there it is. This is harmonized. I'm not working with that one. We're working with the Sentinel-2 SR image collection. Filter bounds, yep, there we go. Areas, and for the periods, for the 2 periods. So there's the looping function again. So it loops the whole time for that. I want my clouds as little as possible. Let's see if I go back into it. You'll see there's a cloud function there. Now this again, you can change. You can just make it 5, just delete it, make it 5, then play around with it, etc., etc. And these are the bands that we want to select from 1 to 12. And then I want to generate a median image. Because remember, there's within this period here, that's 12 months. there's most probably going to be 24 to 30 images. They normally, I think Sentinel, if I look at that, is it every 2 weeks? Every 10 days? Is it every 2 weeks? I think about every 15 or 16 days or something to that effect, that it generates an image. It doesn't say there. You can go into it, but I think it's about 16 days, every 16 days, thereabout. I think it generates, oh, there's 5 days. Okay. So there's 5 days. So that's quite a lot of images. Within that, what's it? It's a year, every 5 days. So that is, let's call it a week. So it's 60 images. Argument's sake, there's 60 images. 60 images within that specific time. So I want to work on a median image. Now the reducer, you see that's S2, which is the image collection there, which is all of this stuff, clipped, etc., etc. So once it generated the 4 images worldwide, it will clipped all of the collection, then it will generate a median image. You can use a min image, a maximum image, a sum image, a mean image, but I normally prefer a medium image. It's between mean and median image. You can play around with it, and then we can create a layer name for it. It will be S2, which is a Sentinel-2, plus the year, and then also the name of it, and then I'm going to display it. So that function, that script there, and obviously that's the visualization parameters. You'll see that it is S2vis. S2vis. There's the visualization parameters. There's a layer name, which is that part there. And then the medium image, which is a medium image of S2 this medium. Okay, so there's the looped script. And this script here, that part there, will generate and display a daytime image for each reserve, for each a medium. Let me rephrase it. Sorry. It will generate a median image for each of those 4 reserves for both periods. So meaning you're going to have 8 images. You're going to have a medium 2020 image for all 4 reserves and a medium 2024 image for all the 4 reserves. That's 8 reserves. It will be medium image and it will be displayed in true color parameters. It will display it in band 4, 3, and 2. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So there is the script for that. Now, let's quickly, I'm not going to go for all 4. Let's zoom in and let's say just Loskop Dam. Let's zoom in on that one there. There's my Loskop Dam. There's my Roy. Let's go there. Remember, it is S2 2020 and Loskop Dam. S2 2024 and Loskop Dam. Remember, its name will be S2, the period, okay, and then the name. So S2 2020 and Loskop Dam. You see there? Come on. S2 2024 Loskop Dam. So that's what that means. Okay, that's what that means. S2 plus 2022, then it's going to go give that little thingamajig plus then the area name. Remember area? Area is defined as the areas, and areas is defined as the names. Okay, so that's how it all fits into. Nice. Okay, so there is 2024 true image, there is 2020 image, and there is 2024 image. 2024 image is much more lighter than 2024. But again, it's very difficult from this to look at differences, similarities, etc., etc. But you can see there's the dam. You can see these areas of, I presume, dry beds, small little rivers, seasonal rivers, where there's quite a lot of vegetation. It looks fairly hilly, fairly mountainous, fairly typical savanna type area. Not foresty, not bare soils, etc. So that's Loskop Dam 2020. That's a medium image for 2020. And there's Loskop Dam 2024. Now we can change that to Let's say if we want to call that a mean image. Let's have a look at that, how that looks. So I'm just going to change it to mean. We're going to run it again. Let me just unselect all these ones. I must actually put in a script to not. Okay, so Loskop Dam. So there we go. There we go. I'm not sure if we will see. Where is it now? There's Loskop Dam. It's going to be different. I'm not sure we're going to. Obviously, we're going to see differences between median, and mean images. Let's have a look and see if there's anything. So that's a mean image for 2020. And there's the mean image for 2024. Forgot to. It's difficult to say if there's any differences between the median and the mean image. It's very difficult to say. And I like to work on the median image. Obviously, if we use the inspector, we're going to see there's quite a lot of difference. And remember to save. Ne? If it's got this little star thingamajig, remember you need to save. So let's press save so that we don't. Now what we want to do is to export it. So we're going to generate a export function as well. That's going to loop through them all. Where is that now? So where is that now? I want to generate the export function. You'll see there it is. To export. Where is that export function? There's a loop to generate loop loop. Okay, here's the export. Export. Here we export for Sentinel for each time. So again, one script. Export. There's the export for both time periods. Okay, so there's the export function there. Okay, so it's in the loop. So only one script, export script, but it generates an export for each of the those reserves. So it's for one script, generate 8 export functions, 8 export images. Medium image, we've already seen the image is the median image. Let's go there. Median image. Where is it now? The median image. There we go. Sorry, the medium image. There it is. Medium image, a description, similar, and it's important, the folder that it's going to send to. Okay, the folder that it's going to send to, the scale, spatial resolution is 10 square meters, maximum pixels, etc. etc. So there's my export. So now with that script, I've generated 8 median images for each for the 4 reserves. 2020 medium image, the 2024 medium image for all the reserves, and I've also going to export all 8 of them. And I'm going to export it to my Google Drive folder. And I've created a folder within Google Drive called Carbon. So if I go to my Google Drive, you'll see there's my folder called Carbon. So it's going to save it into that Carbon folder. And obviously from there, I'm going to, I'm not sure if there's anything in there at the moment. Okay, there's one. I'm just going to right click on it, say download, and I'm going to download it into my project folder on my laptop. And from there, I'm going to bring it into QGIS. So remember, when you have an export function, you create your folder within Google Drive. Okay, and then just add it into your script so that it automatically, and again, no spaces. You'll see there's this underscores here. No spaces. So because if I click on run, so if I want to save this, I'll run. And let's say there's a space. And I want to say run. Okay, it's going to run. Okay, so maybe it's because of already saved it. It's already there. Okay. It's going to give me an, yeah, it's, see, it didn't take the comma. Didn't open the space. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm running it. So now it will run until it's done, and then it will save it into my carbon. And from there, I said I can right click, and I can then add it into my QGIS. Okay, so once I've exported it into my Google Drive, and from Google Drive I've exported it into my project folder on my laptop. Now it sits on my laptop, and I can basically go into QGIS, and I go to layer, I go to add layer, and I'm going to say add a raster layer. Now I go to my project folder, and I'm going to go search for it, and there is, remember, it is S2. It's called S2, am I right? Where did we save it now? S2. Save it. Let's just see, where did I save it now? There we go. There's the S2s. Okay. S2. Why is it giving me that? It's not supposed to give me. Let's see what it's sort by, date modified. There's S2s. There's my Sentinel-2 median image for 2024 for Songimvelo. There's my Sentinel-2 2024 for Mdala. There's my Sentinel-2 median 2024 Mdala. So I just basically left click, and remember you can control left click all of them. And then you just press OK, and it will add. Okay. And you just press add, and it will add. So let's have a look and see within QGIS. Let's have a look and see, where did I. Okay, so there's S2. Let's quickly highlight them. It does take a bit of time to. Okay, so let's have a look and see while it's doing. Now, what we can do, while it's waiting to upload those ones, let's go back to with engine. Okay, so let's quickly run it again, just to get back to a median image. Just to get back to a median image, let me unselect all these other images so that I can only work with one of them. Otherwise, it does take a bit of time. So that's why I prefer to work with. Okay, so let's quickly wait for these ones to load. It does take a bit of time, sadly. Okay, so there's, okay. So what I can do now, obviously within Earth Engine, now while we're waiting for, okay, there it's loaded. Okay, so I just want to quickly go through this. What we can do is we can play around with this. So there's my Loskop Dam 2024. Let's leave it at 2024. Okay, so I can click on this little button there, so I can play around. Remember, we've displaying that as true color, band 4, 3, and 2. There's all sorts of things that we can do around now. So if I click on this little nut, this little bolt here, left click on it, will give me options here. So here I can swap around the bands. So let's go to band 11, band 8, and band 3. And I'm going to say apply. And let's see what that looks like. I can move this a little bit. So let's see what that looks like. That is how it looks there. So if I have that combination 11, 8, and 3, then it gives me this particular visualization. If I go, let's say 5 here. Let's say apply. Let's see how that looks. So that's our band 11, band 5, and band 3. Doesn't make really, nope, doesn't make anything. Let's make band 12. Let's say apply. It does take a bit of time, this internet Okay, so you can play around with it, then you can adjust the gamma features. So let's go back to band 4, 3, band 4, 3, and 2. So let's go back to a true color. And then I'm going to play around with the ranges. So there's the range, 0 to pixel value, 0 DN 0 to 3000. So if I play here, I basically amend the range. You'll see now if I go to stretch alpha, you'll see the range. So this is basically just changing the minimum max values. Okay. So while we're waiting for that to happen, let's go back into our QGIS, and you'll see there is the 2024 picture of it. And let's have a look and see what bands. I've got band 12, 8, and 3. So that's my band 11, 8, and 3 visualization, which is specifically good for forest, vegetation, etc., etc. So there's 2024. There is 2020. So remember, this is median. You can see areas of greenness and areas of soil. And you can see the water obviously here. You can see the green is around these dry loops, river beds, etc., etc. And there's 2024. It doesn't look too different. There seems to be a little bit more green for 2024 than for 2020, but that could just be the way it's presented. We can go and change it into true colors. We can change it. If you go to properties, you can change the color, the bands there. You can change the min max settings and. Okay. So now what we've done is to conclude this specific video tutorial. What we've done is we have a brief. We received a brief to say, listen. Let's just go back there. Okay, so we see when we did the stretch, it changed the range from 0 to 1,500, and that's from 3,000. So if I do apply now, you'll see how that looks. So basically what we've done is we've received a brief to say, okay, there's 4 reserves. We need to do a bit of work on those reserves to find out the economic value of it. For whatever reasons. There's many of them. Okay. So first thing first, we need to go and plot our 4 reserves. We get the boundary coordinates, the boundary maps. We plot them in QGIS. And in QGIS, once we're happy with in QGIS, then we export it into, or we upload it into Earth Engine. We create a project within Google Earth Engine. We upload those 4 boundary maps as assets. We bring it into our script. We map our 4 regions of interest, or our 4 game reserves. Then we create a looping function for all 4 regarding to the clipping of the 4 of our images around for each 4. We also create a temporal function where we want to view, let's call it the before and after image, medium image for both places, a true color image. Okay, so that's what we've done up to now. So now we've got a visualization. We can play around with the visualization parameters, meaning the bands. We can swap the bands around, etc. But that gives us now an idea of where these 4 is located. We get an idea of what they look like. What are the makeup of these 4 reserves? Because that's obviously where you start with your economic valuation or your valuation importance of it. I mean, if it's just bare soil, then it's going to point to a certain valuation. If it's forest, it's going to point to a certain valuation, etc., etc. So it's important that we get an understanding of how these 4 reserves look like. And we can play around with various visualization parameters, etc., etc. And again, you can play around here. Let's do that. You can see the stretching, just changing the range, and once it's applied. So I'm working in partnership between Earth Engine and QGIS. Earth Engine and QGIS up to now. So what I do in QGIS, I mirror in Earth Engine. What I do in Earth Engine, I mirror in QGIS. So I generate all my information in Earth Engine, And as soon as I've got my information, whether it's data, whether it is the images, I transport it, I export it into my project folder, and from my project folder, I upload it into QGIS, and I do do further analysis in QGIS. So I'm running these two programs complementary the whole time. The whole time I'm running them complementary to one another. Okay, so let me pause there for now. Let me stop there for now. Let's apply that. This is, you see the range have now changed. I've stretched it there. I've arranged it. Press apply. You can import it, but I normally just don't do that. Because then it would create the visualization parameters here, and so I don't like to do that. I prefer to do this sort of work within. And there is stretching that way. Stretch 98%. So it excludes a lot of that fade colors. Remember, the original one is quite fadey. This one excludes some of those colors. It highlights the important stuff of it. Okay, but you can get an understanding of the area now. Lots of water, so that's obviously very important from a valuation point of view. Green area, forest area, that's obviously important, etc., etc. So we need to get an understanding of how these areas look like. Okay, so let me park there for now. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is, again, the beginning. I'm giving you my story, how I tackle these things, how I plan these things, what is my thought process, how do I start these things, what do I do, how do my steps in working with this. Now, that's mine. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's see how it goes. Okay, lots more to go. So with that said, yeah, please remember to like and subscribe. I forgot to ask you that. Please remember to like and subscribe. Watch these videos. Share the videos. Please, it would mean, well, let's get the channel going. Let's grow it. Let's make it happen. Please. I really appreciate your support. And yeah, as I said, I'll see you on the other side.